Welcome to the deep dive. We're going into a story today that really gets under your skin. It takes us to these quiet, quite beautiful hamlets in Jashpur district, Chhattisgarh. Think green hills, ancient whispers, that sort of thing. And right there, this incredible story unfolded over decades. A woman fighting against everything, really. Uncertainty, bureaucracy.
It's an amazing starting point.
It really is. Our mission today is to explore the story of Agnesia. She's 64 now, but her journey started a long, long time ago. It's about love, incredible persistence, and navigating this maze that is the justice system.
Yeah, and specifically Indian law in this case, it touches on, conflict, personal loss, the whole spectrum.
Exactly. We're talking about her 27-year quest, 27 years to get her missing husband declared civilly dead. Now, that term itself, civil death, sounds simple, but it's legally quite complex.
It really is. And for her, it wasn't just legal jargon. It was the key to peace, to securing her life, basically.
So let's set the scene properly. We need to go back to PD village in Chhattisgarh. Agnesia and her husband, Najariyus Toppo, a young couple, starting out, no children at that point.
Right. And Najariyus, he had a significant role. He was a Havaldar in the CRPF.
The Central Reserve Police Force. And a Havaldar, that's a crucial rank, isn't it? Sort of like a sergeant?
Pretty much, yeah. A non-commissioned officer.
Yeah.
Often right there on the front lines. Really the backbone of India's internal security forces.
Okay. And his posting in late 90s, where was he?
Jammu and Kashmir. And we'd absolutely have to remember what J&K was like in 1998.
Yeah, tell us.
I mean, it wasn't just tense. It was a full-blown insurgency boiling over. Danger was everywhere, literally around every corner. CRPF personnel like Najariyus, they were facing ambushes, intense situations, the constant threat of being abducted.
Gosh.
It was an unbelievably dangerous, volatile environment to be serving in. Peace was, a distant dream there at that time.
Just trying to imagine the stress. And then Agnesia gets this message, the one she's been waiting for, presumably.
Yeah, the message that he was coming home, he'd gotten official leave from Kashmir, was making the journey back to Jashpur. Back to her.
Should have been a moment of relief, of reunion.
Exactly. Just a standard trip home, a break from it all.
But
then, nothing. Silence.
Yeah.
Days pass, weeks, still nothing. No knock at the door, no phone call. Well, phone access was different then, but still no letter, no word through official channels.
He just vanished.
Completely vanished, like the earth just swallowed him whole. Somewhere between Kashmir and Jashpur.
And that's where her nightmare really begins, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the start of this decades-long ordeal. Her first reaction, pure panic, frantic searching. She rushes to the Jashpur police station, files a missing person report, holding on to any hope.
Understandable. And the CRPF, his unit, did they search?
Oh, yes. They did extensive searches. Across the difficult terrain, checkpoints, everywhere they could think of between his last known location and home. But Kashmir, those mountains, they hold their secrets well.
So no trace, no body, nothing.
Nothing. Just gone. An agonizing void.
And you mentioned the broader context of J&K in the 90s. This wasn't, sadly, an isolated incident.
Not at all. That's the really chilling part. Literally thousands of security personnel and civilians disappeared during that period. Their fates just got lost in the fog of war, the chaos of the insurgency.
So Agnesia's personal tragedy was happening alongside so many others.
Exactly. Her private hell was part of this much larger, staggering statistic of disappearances, which, of course, made finding any specific person incredibly difficult.
Right. So years go by. What happens next?
Well, after 7 years, which takes us to around 2005, the CRPF, they have protocols for this. When someone is missing for that long with no information,
They have to presume
the person is no longer alive. So they did. And they started Agnesia's pension. It was maybe around 10,000 to 15,000 rupees a month back then, the standard amount for a Havaldar's widow.
Okay, so that's some recognition, some financial support at least.
A crucial lifeline, definitely. It acknowledged her loss in a practical way. But, and this is the absolute crux of the matter, it came without an official death certificate.
Just the pension based on presumption.
Exactly. So she had this financial support, which kept her afloat, but legally she was stuck in limbo.
Okay, I see. The pension helps her survive, but doesn't solve the legal status.
Precisely. No legal finality, no official proof of death that she needed for other things.
Which brings us to this concept of civil death. This is where it gets fascinating legally, right?
Yes, because it's not a medical thing. No doctor involved. It's a purely legal presumption made by a court.
Okay. And how does that work in Indian law?
It hinges on a pretty old piece of legislation, actually, Section 108 of the Indian Evidence Act from way back in 1872.
Colonial era. Wow.
Yep. And it basically says, look, if someone hasn't been heard from for 7 years, crucially, heard from by people who would naturally have heard from them if they were alive, family, close friends,
Then the court can step in.
the court can legally presume they're dead. It's a legal fiction, really, designed for these impossible situations where there's just absence. No body, no proof, just silence. It allows things to move forward.
Okay, that makes sense. But if Agnesia was getting the pension, why push so hard for this specific declaration? What was at stake?
This is where the personal and the legal really collide. For Agnesia, this declaration wasn't just symbolic. It was everything. The pension was survival, yes, but without that official civil death certificate.
What?
Najariyus' relatives started looking at the family property, small plots of land back in PD village. Now, in many rural areas, especially with joint family structures common in Chhattisgarh.
Property rights can get complicated.
Very. Without proof Najariyus was legally dead, his share of that ancestral property was ambiguous. Other relatives could potentially lay claim to it, challenge her right to inherit it fully. Remember, she was childless. This property, this land, was her only real security beyond the pension.
So it was about protecting her inheritance, her home, her future security.
Absolutely. The pension kept her from starving. But ownership, her actual standing, her ability to manage that property without challenge that needed the law's formal stamp. Section 108 was the key to that security.
That puts a completely different light on it. It wasn't just about closure. It was about survival and rights in a very tangible way.
Exactly. And this legal tool, Section 108, it's not just for soldiers' families. Think about sailors lost at sea, explorers gone missing. Anyone who disappears without a trace for that long.
So after 7 years, the responsibility shifts.
Precisely. The burden of proof flips. It's no longer on the family to prove death. It's on anyone claiming the person is alive to prove that. But courts don't just rubber stamp these things.
Right, they investigate.
Oh, yeah. Thorough inquiries are needed. Public notices are issued, often in newspapers. Local authorities might investigate. They need to be sure before making such a definitive declaration.
It's incredible how this old law has such profound modern impact. Okay, so Agnesia needed this declaration. How did she actually go about trying to get it? It wasn't quick, you said.
Not quick is an understatement. Her journey through the courts was long and, frankly, heartbreakingly difficult. She started around 2012, trying the most logical rights first.
Like?
She went to the Jashpur collector, the main district administrative officer, hoping for some kind of official certificate based on the CRPF's presumption, and the time passed. Denied. The collector said basically, sorry, not my jurisdiction to declare someone civilly dead.
Okay, so next up.
She tried the local Tehsil court, which handles land revenue stuff, thinking, okay, maybe I can just get the property transferred.
Makes sense.
But denied again. Same reason, essentially. We need a death certificate for that. The system required proof she simply didn't have yet.
Wow. Hitting bureaucratic walls at every turn. That must have been soul-crushing.
Imagine. But she didn't give up. Fast forward almost a decade, around 2022-23. She tries the collector again.
Same result.
Same result. Denial. So she escalates. Takes it to the civil judge, Class 1 in Jashpur.
Any progress there?
A glimmer of hope. The judge actually recognized her as Najariyus' legal heir. That was a step forward. But still, that judge couldn't grant the actual civil death declaration itself.
So the property was hers in theory, but she still couldn't formally secure it.
You got it. Still stuck in that legal gray area.
This is agonizing just hearing about it. Where did she go from there? Was there anywhere left to go?
Yes, there was. The turning point finally came when her case reached the highest local court, the Jashpur District and Sessions Court. This court did have the power. And crucially, she now had experienced legal counsel, Satya Prakash Tiwari.
Having the right lawyer makes a difference.
A huge difference. Tiwari helped her build a really strong, comprehensive case, pulling together everything from all those years.
What kind of evidence did they finally present after all this time?
It was quite compelling. They had sworn statements, affidavits from people confirming they hadn't heard from Najariyus in decades. The original police reports from way back. Crucially, the CRPF documents showing his service, disappearance, and the force's own presumption of death years later. And just the sheer, undeniable weight of 27 years of silence.
And the lawyer used legal arguments too?
Yes. Tiwari was smart. He cited legal precedence decisions from higher courts, like the Calcutta High Court, the Allahabad High Court, where judges had upheld the presumption of death under Section 108 in similar long-term missing person cases.
Showing it wasn't an unusual request.
Exactly, showing there was a basis in law and precedent for what Agnesia was asking.
So the moment of truth in the district court. After nearly 3 decades, what did the judge decide?
District Judge Satyendra Kumar Sahu heard the case, reviewed the evidence, the arguments, and delivered the order Agnesia had fought for so long.
He granted it.
He granted it. He explicitly stated, considering the circumstances and earlier judgments, the presumption of death stands in light of Section 108.
Wow, after 27 years.
And he added something quite moving, actually. He noted that without this declaration, her life would likely descend into further woe. He recognized the human cost, the practical need for this legal finality.
That's profound. Justice finally served, albeit incredibly late.
Incredibly late, but served.
So this is a huge personal victory for Agnesia, but what about the bigger picture? Does her story tell us anything about the system itself?
Oh, absolutely. It highlights some significant gaps, doesn't it? Like, the pension system provides basic survival, which is vital, but getting full legal rights, especially for things like property and inheritance, requires this whole separate, often torturous journey through the civil courts.
It seems like there should be a smoother connection, especially for families of soldiers missing in action.
You'd think so. The Armed Forces Tribunal handles pensions, but civil matters like land, you're back in the local system. It adds layers of bureaucracy, expense, and delay for families already dealing with immense grief and uncertainty.
And nationally, this issue of missing persons, it's not small scale, is it?
Not at all. You look at the NCRB data, National Crime Records Bureau, and there are upwards of 70,000 missing persons cases filed annually in India. Many are linked to service or conflict zones or just life falling apart.
And while things like DNA tech help sometimes,
They do, but only if there's something to test. For the truly vanished, where no trace is ever found, these legal presumptions, like Section 108, remain absolutely essential. Otherwise, families are left in perpetual limbo.
thinking specifically about the CRPF context again, you mentioned hundreds went missing in J&K in the 90s.
Yes, it was a brutal time. Groups like the JKLF were active, abductions, fierce clashes, people just disappeared in the chaos. The force itself is huge, over 300,000 personnel. Losses happen. But those disappearances leave families fighting these secondary battles for years, just for recognition, for closure, for rights.
So Agnesia's verdict, does it help those other families? Does it set a precedent?
I think it genuinely does, especially locally in Jashpur. It's not just words on paper, it's a documented legal victory. It offers a potential pathway, maybe some courage, to other widows, other families facing the same bureaucratic nightmare. It shows it can be done.
A blueprint, maybe.
Yeah, a hard-won blueprint. It shows that persistence, with good legal help, can eventually break through.
So let's bring it back to Agnesia. 27 years. Think about that span of time. The world changed dramatically. Digital India emerged. So much happened. And through it all, she waited. She fought.
Sunrise after sunset, year after year.
And finally, at 64, she gets that piece of paper. The properties that were the source of contention, they're now legally, unequivocally hers. The whispers stop. The hurdles are gone.
She can finally breathe. That sense of ownership of security finally real. It's hard to truly grasp what that must feel like after so long.
Her journey from that first police complaint to the final court order, it really does become this powerful thread in the fabric of Indian law, doesn't it? A testament to sheer human tenacity.
It absolutely is. It reminds us that justice, well, sometimes it's incredibly slow, painfully slow, but it can arrive.
And maybe a final thought for you listening. Agnesia's quest started because someone was missing, because of a profound absence. But it ended with the law making a declaration of presence, a legal presence anyway. It proved that even when someone is gone, the law has to find ways to acknowledge their life, their impact, and the rights of those left behind.
It's a strange kind of paradox, isn't it?
It really is. What does it mean when we need the legal fiction of civil death just to grant someone the reality of civil life, security, and peace? Something definitely worth thinking about.